I came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up. I hope the food here will be to your taste.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel like this in a while.
In that case, I'll go order for...
Ooh, everything looks so good. People in Fontaine sure know how to enjoy life.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rosula next time.
And if it...
Well, then I'll still bring it.
Yeah. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right? We did...
Oh, true. Very true.
Huh? Paimon didn't mean to... Speaking of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances will get caught soon now that this...
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know that there's an organization that means to dissolve these young women, but we still don't know what they are really after.
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed...
Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the investigation could never really move forward before.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking! We were so close to hearing who was behind it.
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm if the trail of clues is cut off. To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't have faith in their ability. It's just that a different perspective is required in some matters. It's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A shift in thinking is required at such times in order to produce a breakthrough, which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exist. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why we exist. To seep into the cracks where filth falls through, where their watch fails them. That's the kind of problems we solve.
Seems Paimon thought things were simpler than they actually are.
It's all right. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal, so I doubt you have further interest in this business. Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended. It didn't really seem like the right time or place to do it anyway.
I see. So, your primary objective, which has been foiled so far, I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while, considering that—
Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more—
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you. Chock full of—
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending. and would agree in order to finish watching the play.
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan...
Alright, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. Then, wake her up in the dead of night and demand answers. Don't let her go back to sleep. I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get some sleep.
That might work, but that's not really the problem.
Ah, valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about all right, no more joking around. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally. I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about the whole thing.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh, that does make some sense. Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know, strike while the iron is hot and all.
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Was this your drink? Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really paying attention and the cup was right next to Paimon. Would you like to order another?
No, it's fine. We're just about done here.
Alright. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fanta anyway. It tastes kind of salty and icky.
Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fanta here then. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah, we're stuffed. Thanks for the treat, Navia. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Nah, that would be so...
Okay. As for expenses this month...
Hey, Navia! What are you doing over there?
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can...
Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again. Bye, Navia!
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. I'll give your requests the highest priority. In any case, I wish you smooth sailing. I'll see you again, See
ya! People around anymore. Looks like that boat we took to Araneas might have been the last.
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? Are you hearing voices again? That's kind.
Vache? Vache.
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? There might be. Huh? Hang on. Paimon can kinda hear a voice. It's calling for Vache, right? Hey, Traveler! Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache! Are you... my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know Vache? Do you know where my love is? I'm... Wait... Who am I? I'm very sorry. I fear I do not know. My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst the tide, never to be recovered. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was once. But now, I am but the consciousness of one who is... I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water, and then all grew... I also remember going to many places. I loved adventure, loved exploring places of peril. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. I knew how dearly he loved me, and I also loved him equally as much. But now, we can no longer go back. The pain of such parting, I never knew how heavy it could be. No, our reunion no longer has any meaning. There is no way for us to create any new memories. The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath the water. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to move on. That is the only thing I still remember. Perhaps that is so. As I was submerged in the waters, losing consciousness, I saw Vache above the surface. His eyes were filled with such sorrow, such longing. If only I could have comforted him, told him that I did not suffer. Indeed, I had felt a great warmth. Is that what you call it? Dissolving? If anything, I consider it a form of release. It was a state of neither fear nor frenzy, with only an endless peace. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then sees how they have lived for so long. I think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think. Farewell, then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence. Remember, if you see Vache, tell him not to seek me out any longer.
Wake up! Come on, hurry! Navi is outnumbered!
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand? Quick, now's our chance! I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Clorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
I followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not—
Do not speak of my father!
Sorry, demoiselle. I was not strong enough.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional harm.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that I'd be in grave danger?
I doubt I know much more than you, but I believe that the mastermind behind the series— Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their—
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means, deploying them as a private force of sorts.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and do not act rashly.
I will continue investigating no matter what. We will bring the truth to light. Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clorand. But if you get any ideas, tell me first. I don't much appreciate being followed.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop following you.
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clorand was being sincere with you.
I know, she's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done for! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved us! Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Clorand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there. Paimon probably couldn't have fought—
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had back there. Not for me, anyway. As such, we're still partners.
It will take 50 years for me.
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di Rosula.
All right, you two.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger? You sure did show up in the nick of time.
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off.
Huh? Really? Paimon contributed somehow? Who?
Yes, all thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did that help?
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases that the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors. So how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink, if I
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as we...
Huh. Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger and hurried here.
But why would they go after us, too? All we did was defend Linny in court and help clear his name. Ugh, now we're caught up in this mess, too, aren't we?
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of, and almost got their name in the process. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordial seawater?
Well, it can't be coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. She said that she heard that voice calling for Vache again. Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too, but it was real faint. Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on—
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
New intel? While you were out cold?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh, that is important. Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. I suppose he hasn't stepped forward as a witness in court lately. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime scene. But he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial seawater. Could he have been... Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. We will Oh, you mean you'll help us investigate?
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't really count. And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people who targeted us get off the hook so easily, are you, Traveler?
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases. We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as partners. But...
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely secure.
It's right up ahead, but let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Very good. But let's not let our guard down for now.
I shall find rooms for...
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue traveling.
This is your...
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently...
Well, our funds have been a little tight. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact...
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people...
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was...
Your father... He was the...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain.
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And my father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor, instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel. 3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill him. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death.
Demoiselle, please, if there is anything I can do, anything at all.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more than the two of you, Master Callus did so much good in life, yet even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances at present.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least...
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an
But how could... never mind. If Callus was really falsely accused...
There is one other thing.
Oh, her? Well, then, isn't that as good as saying that she was the one who killed him? Yeah, that's not the sort of thing that you can just let go and move on.
Miss Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent... She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but see, there was only ever one choice she could have made.
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I just can't deal with this yet.
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how...
Afterward, Miss Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus... Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right, anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even... thanks. You two should go and rest.
Yeah! Paimon's feet...
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest soundly.
Say what you mean. No problem's too big.
where did the other two go?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical new evidence appear?
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now.
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have a match anywhere. I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove...
Does that mean we're too late, though?
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten. And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept. If the Oceanette you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find some related information there.
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? Whew. In that case, let's go talk to him, shall we? Aren't you coming along, Navia? Did you get tired?
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable Chief Justice. The Palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official matters.
This place does look pretty heavily guarded. Guess that...
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can tell.
If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy.
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician Linny.
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's attorneys. It's all coming back to me now.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business. You can trust us.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice is just inside.
Thank...
Please come in.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Neuvillette. We only lied to get in because we didn't know any other way.
It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance to you.
So you're not...
We're looking for a man called Vacher. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to...
I see.
In that case, please wait.
Who knew that Neuvillette would be so easy to talk to?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vache has been involved in any case. There are no records of him either in the files or in my—
Traveler, what if it was really just a dream?
Is that so? All right then. Thank you so much, Monsieur Neuvillette. We'll take our leave now.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of regret? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed— In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you call a stop to the duel? Why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiniest effort could have changed everything. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. So many questions he still owes me answers to. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would— Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy of the Chief Justice. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia, are you okay?
I'm fine. Rain.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active trials.
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder, it was also raining.
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think the rain— That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait. You don't mean—
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water and then got washed away with the rain? Yeah. And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to the bottom of my father's case for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this time.
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head— Great, let's go then.
this?
There's no need to be so surprised. While it may... My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our taste in exterior design is the only thing we occasionally had in common. A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di... Paimon was confused why a group with such a history, but now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself?
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began. Melus, we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and you said before that you still had some business at the court.
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You still remember, right, Melus? On that night, it was raining?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call impossible murder.
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something at a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite...
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that if you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus, and if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety, while lacking energy to do anything. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse, and called for...
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened... Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers, all of whom only sold. Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene. Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costume. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were... You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that...
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Bob. I think this third person is probably the key to the full truth. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with and bought. Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and...
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself. Was I not the closest person to him? And yet, I was the one most kept in the dark. What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more importantly...
So you do know something else, Malus?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of... But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, Demoiselle, had been...
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had no more than 5 years left to live, and the serial disappearances case caused him great anxiety. 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict, but once he passed away, all the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hat, but as long as you remained safe, he would not. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappear.
Right. So nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the Unfaithful were still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you, if Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand him. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just... But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
It's the location where Synth is produced. When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the... But if you want to use it against the enemy...
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find, but a single visit to the worst case would be that we leave empty-handed, but also open ourselves up.
Then, in that case, why not work with the Fontaine Authority?
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how...
That's true. But things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected Synth with the disappearances case.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this, Malus.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve the boss and Demoiselle's will. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets.
Thank you for all of that, Malus. Have you discovered anything new in the past few years?
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy, when I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who understood Boss really well. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, there's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're...
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosula?
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealer, it's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down themselves.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities...
I see. These are all people who I communicate with quite regularly. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along.
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our...
Of course. And thank you, Malus.
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing my duty. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame in Jacques' death. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit.
Oh, thank you so much, Malus.
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case once and for all.
It is settled, then. Please excuse me, and enjoy your conversation at your leisure.
Thank you for arranging everything for us,
Excuse me, miss. Do you need anything from us?
Oh,
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time.
If it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent...
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of pain that comes...
You don't understand at all.
I didn't know how to face you, because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation. I know only the full truth could bring closure to you.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment. On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our answer already.
Would you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe that...
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go in. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he tried to be as careful as he could. But even so...
They found out about...
Papa didn't say that exactly. But Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callus had always taken great care of us, even if he fired the shot that killed my husband. It was likely in self-defense. It is impossible for me to hate him.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy if he did the right thing? Papa always wanted to be a good man. So why did he have to do a bad thing in the end?
Well, things aren't always as they seem. You still feel like your papa was a good man.
Yeah, Papa was a really good man. The best in the whole world.
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, then he must have had his reasons, regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword. He must have done so to give you a better life.
Oh.
Thank you for everything you've told me. I will definitely find the truth. The current state of things is not something I'm willing to just sit back and accept.
Thank you. I'm very grateful to hear this from you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really similar.
You really think so? That's the first time anyone said that to me.
Are you okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Florence should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city. I'll get myself together on the way, so please don't worry.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the office. House? Someone got turned into water right in front of us.
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure journalists will milk it for all it's worth. And it'll be all the talk for the next several weeks.
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with my father, it was raining outside, and we found some clothes left at the scene. After my partner here put the dots together for me, I feel like we should try to reopen his case. Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think. Mr. Callus was feeling pretty upbeat that day. After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. Who knew that we would hear 2 gunshots ring out right? My first reaction was that Mr. Callus's life was in danger. So, I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the scene. But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callus was standing over a dead body with a gun in his hands. All we could do was look back and forth at each other.
So you also remember 2 gunshots then?
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But I've never really bought that explanation. Reason being, Mr. Callus had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his person. About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned, do you think there was a third person there who was turned into...
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. So he would also have no reason to bring in... The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callus ended up... But hold on. If that's what had happened, he didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine, and chose instead to prove his own... Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve...
About that, Malus told me a thing or two. So, I'll tell you everything once the whole truth has been revealed.
I understand. Then I'll leave Mr. Callus's honor in your hands, boss. And if I may just say one more thing. The whole Callus the Unfaithful epithet. Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callus. But it was Mr. Callus's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina di Rosula. No matter what others might say, he'll always be the man I—
Don't worry. I will definitely find the truth. You and all our other comrades at the Spina deserve to know the truth as well. Hey, Thierry, it's me.
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navia?
Oh, so you've got news of that already.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards, you know.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances.
I mean, where I work is really up to me. Callus did a fantastic job running the town. Building Spina di Ros, it would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly easy but high-paying job in the city. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these two friends of yours? You, here for some formal business?
Yes. These two are my partner. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case and my father's may be related.
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that we know people can be dissolved into water, right? If you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you look for them.
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have another question.
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly. Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully—
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked. So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you would—
Then you think too highly of my— If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but if you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. The same goes for me and my Gardamex. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of so I can promise you, they're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or both.
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, well, thank you for the vote of confidence. Jokes aside, I'd like to wish you all the best with your investigation. I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so just come.
Hello. How may I help you?
I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? You can just say Navia's looking for—
Sure. I will let him know right away.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be.
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. I just wanted to talk—
Yes, I've never seen it.
Oh, you were at the opera—
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a— I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. Quite impressive. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine discussing...
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunkards.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right? The fact that he...
Yes, I was reminded of your father's case right away. Is that what...
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but...
Oh, and what makes you...
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water from the... If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to you right now.
Oh, you're giving us too much credit.
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callus sought so dearly will soon become a thing of the past. But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabrières will use its funds to the...
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend to go and... Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
About that. Sorry, my age is catching up with me, so it'll take me a while to recall my memory. The Confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time making sure things were running smoothly. I didn't even have the time to drink with the guests. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around...
Sounds good. Just let me know if you ever need Mora. All my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support. I'll...
We've talked to all three suspects, purely based on their conversations with me.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation's all that's needed to find them out... Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what we were able to find.
But where should we start? Ah, you're right! Flora mentioned that Callus...
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he refused, he and his family's lives would have been forfeit.
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder.
So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to turn his back on the order and... makes sense. But without evidence, besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me quite a bit. It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the primordial seawater was...
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow this lead to the end?
Given everything that's happened since, it's quite possible. But who among the three suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Florent? It is true that he was closest to my father, and thus had the best chance of learning about his dealings with Jacques. But as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with person...
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mecha army?
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, I don't think he would be... Uncle Marcel? My father did really trust him. And they worked together, and with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford a large number of Gardamex. It's still really hard for me to imagine, though. Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of Mora and energy to fight his own synth business? Thierry, you say? It is possible that he's figured out a way to convert the Gardamex for personal use, but I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about the mecha. I also don't think he'd be able to keep that kind of tampering under wraps.
Yeah, had he actually tampered with the mecha, we'd be able to prove it with a simple check of the guard's inventory. were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out when and how that happened.
Who could it be? You know, if you think everything through...
Could we be missing other suspects? Malus didn't know about the people turning into...
Malus has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trustworthiness has been fair and well considered. The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to dispatch Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie back to Uncle Marcel.
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes, Malus did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. But we need far more solid proof before we can hope to go charging in on our enemy.
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been looking for you.
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the guards?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left.
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
What? Is that someone you know?
Yeah, we know him. Maybe even a little too well.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
Wait, how? None of our investigations have had anything to do with him.
That's what I thought was strange about it, so I can... If the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to support...
Right, because they'll think they've already found the culprit.
Yeah, and it'll be a lot harder then to clear Mr. Callus's name.
I understand. Well, Huh? Split up? What do you mean? Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, the culprit's attention will be You're right. This is our best opportunity. All right then. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you to make it better.
We'll help you, just like you helped us in Linny's trial.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Malus, Silver, when did...
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson. It's our hope that you're...
Thank you so much. Then...
See you then! Now that Navia has set out for Irenaeus, we should also get going. The location has already been marked on the map, so let's head over. According to Malus's info, the synth production base is underwater. Let's go and try to find the entrance. Finally found it! Huh. So this is the entrance that leads to the synth production base. It sure doesn't seem out of the ordinary at all. Ah, you're right. An important place like this is bound to have a ton of protective measures and mechanism. Navia's probably arguing up a storm right now.
It would appear that I must repeat my question again, Mr. Tartaglia. Do you accept the charge that you are the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system, or the reason why I'm being charged with something I've never even heard of. However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate in a duel to clear their name. Is that right? In which case, as long as I accept the charge, I can have an all-out fight with that champion duelist Clorend, right? I've got to admit, that's one of the most enticing offers I've ever received. When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back. Real disappointing.
Hey! Don't you understand? You're currently the prime suspect for a major case. This isn't the place for you to be looking for fights.
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon wants to lecture me on the ways of the Opera House. Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat of battle.
No. That's not what I meant.
Alas, it would appear that communication with the defendant is going poorly, and we have made very little progress. In that case, let me explain everything from the very beginning again. The goal of this trial is to determine the culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
That case had nothing to do with him. You've got the wrong man.
Huh? What's going on? Why is she interjecting again?
I told you it couldn't be one of the Fatui Harbingers.
Miss Navia, this is the second time you've interrupted the court proceedings. I only tolerated your behavior last time because you were able to provide but that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can very well charge you with contempt of court for your interjections.
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any respect for this place's pointless theatrics? We can put that discussion aside for now. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to charge the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. And if my charges prove true, then Tartaglia here will be proven innocent by default. Correct?
Oh, a young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. How fascinating. Well, I'd gotten half bored to death by all these rules and procedures anyway. So, Your Honor, is there nothing else for me to do now?
You may take a seat for now in the audience. But that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who is the person you would like to charge instead?
That person is... Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières!
Huh? What confrérie? Never heard of them in my life.
I've heard of them, but weren't they Spina di Rosula's sister organization?
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, that charging someone is an incredibly serious matter. Committing to the charge also means taking... And if the charge fails, depending on the circumstances, you may also be charged with the crime of making a false...
Yes.
In that case, I declare the charge to be valid. Miss Navia and attorneys, please... Members of the guards, please contact Mr. Marcel right away so that he may stand trial. Mr. Marcel, you will not require an attorney. Is that correct?
Apologies. It all just happened so quickly. I think an attorney won't be necessary. This is probably just a misunderstanding between me and Navia.
Very well. In that case, since both sides have now arrived, Miss Navia, please present your charges.
I would like to take everyone back to 3 years ago, to the case of Callus the Unfaithful. Only through elucidating what really happened in that case can we connect all the dots for the serial disappearances case.
Navia, do you really think that I was the one who killed your father? Come on, why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember, both you and I only ran to the scene when we heard the sound of a gun. If that's enough to make me a suspect, wouldn't that make everyone at that banquet a suspect as well?
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now. The audience doesn't even have the big picture yet. Even I'm struggling to remember some details of that case.
Exactly correct, Your Honor. I must refresh everyone's memory about that case before I can explain my charge and reasoning.
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage. On the day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a countryside estate owned by the Confrérie of Cabrières. During the banquet, all attending guests heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. When the guests arrived at the scene, they found the primary suspect, Callus, holding a gun, while his acquaintance, Jacques, lay dead from a gunshot wound. The guards' investigation did not recover any other firearms from the scene. As a result, they concluded that the suspect's first shot must have missed, while the second must have taken. The suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to defend himself in court. Instead, Callus was defeated by champion duelist Clarande in the ensuing duel. These are the known facts about the case.
The one with the motive to kill was Jacques, not my father. And even so, in truth, the third person shot Jacques first, and was shot in turn by my father when my father seized the gun from him. After that, the true culprit turned the third person into water, erasing all traces of him from the scene. Thank you for the summary, Your Honor. Of course, the guard's conclusion appeared quite sensible to us at the time. However, we should revisit the case now that we've gained new information about the abilities of water from the primordial sea. This assassin first shot Jacques, then turned to shoot Callus, only for Callus to wrestle the gun from him and kill... The testimony of the victim's family confirms that Jacques had thoughts of us. However, in the end, he reconsidered and instead shared everything with Callus. Unfortunately for Jacques, the true culprit had already considered this possibility and had... A pile of clothing was found at the scene. The guards once believed they were used by Jacques, but now it is clear that the clothes were proof that there was a third person at the scene. Since it was raining that day, the culprit was confident that they could use the rain to wash... Realizing this, the true culprit caused the hired assassin to dissolve into water, leading everyone to believe Callus was responsible for Jacques' murder.
So that's what happened. Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as water from the primordial sea has been used for all these years?
What a great theory. It also explains Callus's and Jacques' respective motives.
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime. You should provide a rebuttal if you wish to prove your innocence.
But I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her speech that directly implicated me.
Then, may I ask some questions? In my opinion, we primarily need to determine two things. One, do you have the evidence to back up your claims?
I'm afraid not.
Boo! If you don't have any evidence, you should just go home!
I may not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up the deserted clothes against a record of people who went missing around the same time, we should be able to find a match. Considering the serial disappearances case, the guards probably kept careful records.
That makes sense to me. Monsieur Neuvillette, I would consider this to be a reasonable investigative direction.
Why do I feel like Farina's acting a little differently today?
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing herself again?
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging an innocent citizen in the last trial.
My second question has to do with the ensuing duel. If the truth is indeed as you described, then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved, he could have at least mounted a defense.
I've thought about this too, and the answer is actually pretty simple. He felt there were things that were more important to him. The dissolving power of water from the primordial sea is an important secret for the true culprit of the serial disappearances. My father could have exposed it for all to see, but he chose to take it to the grave. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been shattered. He had no guarantee that going forward with the truth would allow the culprit to be brought to justice. What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on my back.
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been selected as the next target of the serial disappearances case.
What?
If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. I wouldn't have been the only one in danger. Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the matter and determine that we were in the right, but what good would that do? How can a hollow verdict... Had this opera house ever given my father any kind of confidence in its brand of justice, Spina di Rosula would have had no reason to exist. But by staying silent, we retain the ability to deter our opponents and continue the stalemate. I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, which made me harder to target, as well as giving me more time to grow and learn. And once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do what this opera house cannot, and restore my father's truth and honor back to him.
So, you mean to say, your father intended to die in the duelist's ring?
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to ask his opponent, Clarand. I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the shadows. You don't have to do anything for my sake. But since he entrusted his will to you, Clarand, you should tell us the truth about his sacrifice.
So, during the duel, did you believe that Callus was intending to die?
As a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of dishonored lives. In my line of work, I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope to continue living. Some were determined, others passionate, and some even manic and twisted. Just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live. I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring alive.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions. It appears that...
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your father's case and the serial disappearances case.
Right? What she said was fascinating, but kind of beside the point.
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial disappearances case?
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are connected via a matter of timing. In my father's case, the culprit intended to kill both Jacques and Callus. As a result, and at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone because they realized they were at risk of being identified. The culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they were already at the scene. Coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet and the trial.
So that's why you suspected me. Even after hearing your reasoning, I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child, Navia. It's one of your most...
No need to appeal to pathos.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, can you prove that I was the only person present at both events? On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone remotely monitor the place?
Don't know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects with some further investigation. Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a... But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. How? Do you know what the biggest flaw in your reason...
I suppose you're gonna tell me anyways.
It's timing again. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap young women. It's a high risk. In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to Poisson and work in some trade. But the disappearances began before I ever stepped foot in Font.
I do apologize, demoiselle. This was my mistake.
No, it's not your fault.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you like to check the date of my first business license against the first known case? You can also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when I left Snezhnaya for the first time. Could those records and testimonies do something to appease the unspeakable anguish in your heart?
Seems like she got the wrong guy. At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely accusing him.
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he neared the end of his life. But aren't you going against all of his wishes and expectations right now? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious, instead of dwelling only on your own feelings. Once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings, and to stop rushing headlong into things, you'd have met most of his expectations.
This isn't just about me, and it never has been. The biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to... The people whose families were destroyed by synth abuse, the people who lost their loved ones to the serial disappearances, and the people whose... Many people's images are flashing before my eyes. I'm sure some are coming... And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vache? Oh, so you do know that name.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Steady as stone.
Windblade! Be gone!
Go, go, Baron Bunny! Time to clean up. Leave it all to me.
Let it rain.
Cool it.
Dodge this!
Windblade! Duh. Prepare to be blown away!
Freeze! Don't get frostbite.
The floor is going up! Is it because of this mechanism in the middle? That guy really prepared a lot of stuff for this place. Paimon thinks we need to go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up.
Freeze!
Steady as stone.
Windblade!
The water level is rising. Now we can swim to the top. But this is still a ways away from where we need to go.
I must leave no stone unturned. Go, Baron! No one escapes my sights! Windblade! Get him!
Oh, so sorry.
Leave it all to me, as a good knight should.
Be gone!
Dodge this! Cool it!
Let it rain! Go, Baron Buddy! Not so hard!
I must leave no stone unturned.
Freeze!
Windblade!
This world will be frozen in time. Freeze!
Steady as stone.
No one escapes my... Get him!
Cool it!
As a dutiful maid would.
Windblade!
Dodge this! Don't get frostbite!
I'll catch you.
Prepare to be blown away! Get him! Windblade!
I'm not done.
I must leave no stone unturned.
Get him! Let it rain! Be gone! Go, Baron Bunny! Windblade! Get him!
Cool it!
Leave it all to me. Time to clean up. I must leave no stone unturned.
Freeze!
Prepare to be blown away!
Oh, so sorry.
No escape! Windblade!
Cool it!
Leave it all to me. After all that, we finally made it to the... Though, as expected, the mastermind isn't here. That's right. Then let's hurry up and find some evidence. What's all this? Aw, it's a bunch of really cute things. Pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box. Oh, Paimon sees it too, but why are all... Huh? You mean the girls from the... And then They were turned into water, and all the boxes of things. These names. That means... What's this over here? Looks like some kind of place for research. Experiment number 16 aims to verify Jacob Ingold's research conclusions. The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Sorry, Traveler. Paimon will try her best. It's just... how can someone write something that terrible in such a matter-of-fact tone? You read the rest. Paimon's too scared to keep going. So that's why he did all of these experiments? Wait, did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane! Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. Ah, you mean Vache is the one who did all of these... experiments? So that's it! Vache was no victim, but personally took his lover and... No, that's not it either! If that's the case, why would he want people to resurface from the... In any case, Paimon will write it all down. Oh, look! There's an important-looking basin over here, and it's full of water! That means this is where they make all the synth! If you dilute it with normal water, you'll get synth! Paimon will take notes on this incriminating evidence! Let's see what's written here! Nothing escapes... Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems to be an investigation report. Yep, it's about finding someone to assassinate. This should prove the existence of the third person, right? We still have not determined the exact content of the key information Callus has passed on to certain members. The old dog's a real menace to deal with. Even if he abides by the promise he's made to us, he will still have the upper hand. He can act whenever he wants to make our lives miserable. The only option left is to remove him from the picture entirely. I concur. Let's send someone to kill him. He won't declare war as long as we don't touch Navia. Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups. They're all just so evil. And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain the water's... Mixing in progress. Ready to drink? Stock sample? Huh. They've also got all the synth pretty clearly labeled. Whoa, there's even fruit-flavored synth? super obvious. We've looked at almost everything here, and it seems like our theory... Yeah, we haven't found anything that reveals his true identity. No wonder even Nervalette wasn't able to find anything. Whoever it is, that way, even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to... Sure thing. Paimon won't admit defeat to this guy either. Nothing at all. And Paimon can't even find snacks either. Whoa, really? Let Paimon see. Vinier. Isn't that Vache's lover's name? Then you found her diary. Aw. It's just a normal diary chronicling their love story. She was so sweet. So many! A whole page's worth! But they're all crossed out. Was the final name she decided Marcel? Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Has this case been going on? Hey! Paimon still hasn't figured it out yet.
And whose image do you see? Is it a man named Vache? Oh, so you do know...
I've merely surprised...
I was waiting for you to say that.
Navia! We're back!
As expected of my partner.
Just how often do you intend to flout the rules of this court?
It's all right, Monsieur Nervalette. Given their confidence, But the truth of it, Marcel, is that you've always been Vache.
Huh?
We've investigated your lair and we already know everything! After your lover, Vinier, was dissolved, you kept abducting young women to experiment on the hopes of bringing her back to you! You even created Marcel as a new identity and destroyed all records of your past as Vache!
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances rarely go that far. And with that, Marcel's motive has now been established.
This information regarding your past also dismantles your prior timing defense. Well, Marcel, you fixated your gaze on the lover that passed away, instead of paying attention to the living people of... So, you never noticed how we changed.
You also never understood Boss's real expectation.
Or our determination to see things through.
Your determination.
Mr. Marcel, please speak up now if you would like to defend yourself. Otherwise, the trial will move on to the next stage.
Do you really think I wanted to do any of this? Pay attention to you? What for? Have you ever paid attention to me? Ever empathized with my... No one helped me. No one even believed me. All those decades ago, they said there's no way a human being can turn into water. So I must have gone. Well, now you know, don't you? Ha! Well, it's too late. You only have yourselves to blame. You set up this ornate opera house in pursuit of your so-called justice. Your beloved Venier is dead. We promised each other that we would always be together. Wherever she goes. But I'm not from this blasted place. So I can't be dissolved. No matter what I do.
Hey, is that water from the primordial sea that he's drinking?
I can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Do you all see? I can't go, I can't follow. So if I can't go where she is, what choice do I have but to try to bring her back? I did all of that, and in the end, that accursed Callus still got the better of me. I spent my entire life living on pins and needles, only to get stabbed by his idiot daughter.
The suspect is exhibiting signs of mental distress. Guards, please restrain him.
Don't touch me! Don't anybody come near me! I still need to save Venier. Venier, please, Venier. Don't think badly of me.
At this point, the verdict of this trial is clear. With Mr. Marcel's conviction...
Fine by me. I was in a bad mood, but after a show like that...
Traveler, please submit all the evidence you have collected to the guards, so that I might review and summarize the truth behind... The man now known as Marcel was originally named Vacher, and worked as an adventurer with his partner and lover, Venier. During an underwater expedition, Venier accidentally came into contact with water from the primordial sea, and was dissolved in front of Vacher as a result. Vacher learned of the primordial water's existence through the work of others, and began to kidnap young women for research. To cover his tracks, he invented the new alias of Marcel, and began. During the course of his research, Vacher discovered that a diluted concoction of water from the primordial sea. However, as he accumulated wealth to fund his continued research and expanded the scope, after exchanging blows with Spina di Rosula for many years, Vacher, although the assassination did not go as Vacher expected, he was and just recently, Vacher attempted to frame Linny as the culprit of the serial disappearances case, using a similar method. However, his attempt to frame Linny failed, and the power of water from the primordial sea became public knowledge. This case also exposed enough. Thus concludes the enigmatic history of the sea. The Oratrice will now deliver the final verdict regarding the charges against Mr. Vacher. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Vacher is guilty.
Guards! Take Vacher away.
Good. It's what he deserves.
With that, the serial disappearances case is over now.
We really just witnessed history. Who would have thought the true culprit would be...
Hurt so many innocent people and now he's... Huh? Are you okay?
Demoiselle, you were absolutely brilliant.
The day our late boss had always hoped for has finally come.
Yeah. See, Papa? Spina di Rosula's...
Well now, hasn't this been a most delicious piece of drama? The villain has been caught, justice has been served, past wrongs have been right. Since it's been such a great show, I'll just let the false accusations against me slide. Either way, I've still...
Please wait just one moment, Mr. Tartaglia.
What now? None of this has anything to do with me.
According to court protocol, since this trial was initiated due to a charge against you, a verdict must also be made regarding the initial charge before the trial can conclude.
Oh, come on. Is this really necessary? Haven't you already caught the real criminal? Isn't it time?
Please respect the laws of Fontaine.
All right, but this sure is a lot of hassle. All I need to do is stand over there, right? Let's just...
Through evidence presented in the public trial that was just held, it has been established that Mr. Tartag, the guilty party, has been identified, and thus it is logical to suppose Mr. Tartaglia. We now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Tartaglia is guilty.
What?
Hey! That's not funny! Didn't you just say I'm supposed to be innocent? What's with this verdict? Is your justice machine malfunctioning?
Huh? This has never happened before. The Oratrice actually...
I mean, have you ever heard of an innocent Fatui Harbinger? Do you think the
But weren't the charges about the serial disappearances case? No matter what else he's guilty of, it shouldn't affect the verdict in this case, right?
The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale is, by law, the guards, please take the suspect into custody per court protocol.
So this is how justice is done in Fontaine. What a joke. You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
I am sorry. If you have been wronged, we will find the truth. But the rules of the court must be upheld. Apologies. This is also the first time I've encountered such a situation. However, according to the rules established at the conception of Fontaine's, all I do is follow court procedure. As for why the Oratrice arrived at the conclusion it did, you should probably ask someone more knowledgeable than me.
Why are you looking at me? I had nothing to do with it! I don't know what happened there either! Hey, stop staring at me!
What does Lady Farina mean by that?
She says she has no idea either, but that's
Yeah, so are the verdicts reliable or not? Can results like this
My dearest citizens, did you really think we'd allow an incorrect verdict to be Don't tell me. You thought even I had been blindsided by the Oratrice's result.
But the way she looked just now, it was pretty obvious she had no idea what was going on.
However, given the state of things, I shall give you an explanation. Everything that just took place, including my supposed shock and bafflement, was a part of an elaborate performance and of course, for every performance there is a script. Everything has unfolded exactly as I expected from the very beginning. If you thought Child had nothing to do with the serial disappearances case, it is only everything he's done. Not to mention the danger all shall be revealed in time. You will come. Now, having said that, although I hate to leave things hanging in suspense, it is now time for this performance.
So she chose to make her escape after all, did...
So you're saying we shouldn't put much stock?
She probably just put on that performance to save face. As for the truth, it's unlikely that she actually has any... However, please be assured that I will continue to investigate this case in a personal capacity. Just as I promised, if the...
All right. Even though we feel pretty bad, after all, he's done plenty of...
Hey, what are you doing? Quick, stop him!
Traveler! Hey! Traveler!
Marcel! What are you doing over here?
Stop resisting arrest! Cease, or we'll add another charge to the list!
No, wait! I just want to ask the Traveler something. I'm not looking to run away. Please, just let me ask this one small thing.
Go on.
Thank you. I was being led away when I finally realized something. Where did you first hear the name Vacher? I erased all records of that name. So, unless...
Are you still trying to prove your innocence? Give it up. You've already been convicted.
Really? You did? You're sure? You met her? But how could that be? The Fountain of Lucine? Then she's been so close to me all along. Please give me a chance to talk to her again. Just let the Traveler take me to the fountain to see her one last time. This is the last request I'll ever make in my life. You can do whatever you want to me.
What? Give an inch and you want to take a mile? Do you think serial killers get to make requests like that?
Paimon agrees. Why should we give him what he wants when he's only
This request, is it worth as much to you as your life?
Of course! Wait, no. It's worth even more than my life.
Humans. Will they betray the instinct to live just to satisfy spiritual need? Very well. I will grant your request.
Your Honor, I fear that...
I will go with him. You do not need...
In that case...
Thank you, Your Honor.
Isn't that Charlotte? Who's her friend, and what are they chatting about?
Be pleased with the cherry on top, Charlotte! I read that a gang of criminals tricked the Gardamex by disguising themselves as... I've invested all my savings into graph adversarial technology, and even taken out a sizable bank loan. I'm begging you like the beggiest beggar in all of begdom.
I need you to calm down a little, Miss Lapine, Polly. I admire your passion for your research, and I don't mean to dash your hopes for those, big-ticket orders. But I'm afraid I'm not joking. The Blubber Beast incident was a short story mailed to a...
It sounds like they're just discussing a story, but why does this Miss Lapine Pauline seem so distressed?
Funnily enough, I actually remember being in a meeting where the editing team was debating the potential risk of but to our surprise, they fully supported us printing it. They figured that the false in truth, Gardamex are extremely sophisticated in their capabilities. They can identify criminals just as reliably as the best human guards. So a crude Since we ran that story, the Maison Gardiennage, so I knew this story had helped out law enforcement.
Uh-oh. She really sounds like she's in pain. Paimon thinks we should just ask Charlotte what's going on. Hey, Charlotte!
Traveler, Paimon, it's you! I was in the area taking some photos for a story when I got... She read an article in the Steambird about a criminal who evaded Gardamek detection by disguising themselves as a Inspired by this story, she spent a lot of Mora researching counter-criminal image recognition technology. She was hoping I could write an article to spread awareness about image recognition technology. But unfortunately, it was just a fictional story, and her efforts and aspirations were all in vain. I tried to let her down.
This is a new situation for us, too. It's such a pity. It seems like the author was only trying to make the story interesting.
Wait, Miss Lapine Pauline, what are you doing?
I'm gonna pick a fight with a Gardamek, head to the opera at Biclez, and get a one-way ticket to the... That way, I won't have to repay my debts. It's the only way I can afford to keep on living.
Whoa, there's no need to go that far. I mean, come on, look at you. You wouldn't even dent the Gardamek's armor. In all likelihood, they'd only hold you up at the Maison Gardiennage for a few days before letting you out, and then you'd still have to Actually, instead of going into the technicalities of that, how much did you actually invest?
270,000 Mora.
Okay, well, escaping to the Fortress of Meripede over a sum like that seemed...
Not anymore. I used to be an equipment supplier to the Fontaine Research. It's not just my savings that are gone. It's my whole future as a graph adversary. My life is over.
Don't despair, Miss Lapine Pauline. I think I know a way. This prototype you've given me, the camera lens for image recognition sample collection. The rapid focal length adjustment is a very useful function in its own right. It's sure to make many journalists' jobs. So your research efforts thus far are by no means in vain. The technology you've developed... Absolutely. I've been working as a journalist for the Steambird for a long time now. So keep calm, take heart, and start thinking about mass production. In the meantime, I'll show your invention to all my
I can't believe... If this is true, then I can look into setting up a whole camera... Oh, maybe I should consider taking out another loan. That way, I can rapidly improve the lens production process, be the first...
Come on! Stop daydreaming about your pipelines for a minute.
And I can probably speak to some people I know and license my image recognition device to a workshop to There's no time to lose. I need to get to work. Early bird gets the worm.
Can you believe her? Paimon's pretty sure our advice went in 1 year and...
It's understandable. When inspiration and passion strike at the same time, it's all too easy to throw yourself headfirst into your work and forget about everyone around you. But don't you worry. Her research has the potential to benefit the entire journalistic community. I'll give her plenty of input to stop her from going down it.
It's reassuring to know that you'll be looking out for...
Actually, you know what? Why don't you two take this prototype lens? It takes the right person to get the most out of a new technology.
Thanks a lot, Charlotte. What a nice surprise. We were just curious about what you guys were talking about. Totally.
You're welcome. I got something out of this too. The beginnings of a very interesting news story. The boundaries between real news reports and news-like fiction must not be... Yes, that's how I'll phrase it to the editors when I give them my feedback.
Is this the place? You said she's here, but what do I need to do to see her?
Yeah, and even Paimon could hear her after drinking that thing. Didn't you just drink a lot of it on the stage as well? Oh, in that case...
Vache!
Ah!
Yes, that's it! So you heard it too!
Vinier, it's me! It's me, Vache!
Vache? Vache!
I'm here! I'm here! Where are you, Vinier? I'm coming for you. I'm finally here for you.
Hey, wait! Be careful! Hey, wait!
Vinier, is that you? It's me, Vache! Vinier!
Vache? Why did you come? Didn't I say? You don't need to look for me. You look a lot older than I remember. How long has it been?
It's been more than 20 years. I've suffered for over 20 years since the day you left. All this time, only the thought of bringing you back has kept me alive. I must be dreaming. Who would have thought I'd get the chance to tell you all of my feelings like this? Vinier, you are my everything. I really don't know how I could live without you.
But Vache, if you ask me, this world would be better off without you.
What are you saying?
If not for you, I would have finished my law degree and If not for you, I would have continued to pursue my love of the arts. If not for you, I would at least have been able to take care of my mother. And she would not have grown old and died alone. It's all because of your selfishness.
Wait, you are not Vinier. Who are you?
You're right. I am not Vinier. I am the sacrifices. Every woman who died by your hand, as our bodies dissolved, our consciousnesses flowed back to the primordial sea. Our thoughts circulated endlessly within the primordial sea, and we were no longer individuals. But I'm Cressy. I'm Lemony. I'm Azine. The only one I am not is Vinier.
Why? But then, where is Vinier?
She doesn't want to see you anymore. Every tendril of her consciousness is avoiding you. This is what you get for your selfishness. Your selfishness robbed us of our lives and our futures. You said time and... But did you ever consider whether she'd want to see you do the things that... You are a liar, a heartless murderer, and a cowardly narcissist. The only thing you are not is Vinier's beloved. From the moment your first victim died and her consciousness merged with Vinier's.
No! Vinier! She can't...
You still don't understand. When I said don't look for me, that came from the real Vinier. But on top of that, she also said that because it's her final drop of pity for you. She said that because she knew that if you did come here, we will show no mercy to you.
Vache.
Vache?
Vache.
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 Vache. Drown.
Finally, we have some time to do shopping. Gosh, it's really been a long time since we've been able to...
Well met, partner. I knew something great was going to happen when I woke up in such a good mood today.
Even this weather can't put a damper on the...
It's a pleasure to see you both again.
Oh, hey, Navia! It's been...
Oh, now that I believe. I'm easy to work.
Sounds like you're really enjoying life these days.
it's just been one thing after the other. I've been making non-stop trips. Everyone from Spina di Rosula organized a memorial for my father. We never held a memorial when he first died. This time, though, everyone in Poisson, and even many people from the court, all attended.
So his name's definitely been cleared.
It's been the dearest wish.
That blasted stubborn fool. I was right. Oh, by the way, I ran into Charlotte just after I left the memorial service. Well, maybe it'd be more accurate to say I knew...
Huh? So you know Charlotte too?
Yeah, way back when I first became the president of the Spina di Rosula. I believe the story was called To be fair, though, it was a really flattering feature. She was trying to lean on our friendship to get me to do an exclusive piece on the serial disappearances case.
Oh yeah, she told us about that. She's always been super interested in...
Anyway, I told her to make sure that when she writes about you guys entering the opera house with the critical...
Now that's another thing to look...
Oh, and in other news, I also took Clarand out for a meal.
Oh, are you two on better terms now?
While you were investigating Vacher's headquarters, Clarand gave testimony on my father's behalf. It was thanks to her that we were able to turn the tide. I wanted to thank her.
Oh, that's great. Paimon also thought Clarand wasn't actually a bad person. It's always good to have more friends.
Anyway, now that the case has finally been solved, perhaps it will... actually...
What is it?
I should pay a visit to my father's grave and tell him the truth of what happened, as well. And on top of that, just how much people still look up to him. That includes me.
Miss Navia.
Indeed.
We want to go too. We also...
Sure thing. I'd like you two to share the moment with me.
And in that case, everyone, let's be off. Considering the recent weather, we'll be...
Yeah, you're right. It's been raining non-stop for a few days now. This is where my father's grave is.
Huh? There's someone there already. What?
Hmm?
Isn't that Nervalette? Why would the Chief Justice be here? Huh? Navia?
My apologies. I should have asked before coming to pay my respects.
Don't say that.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I was trying... I wanted to show my father how much I've grown. But still, I doubt I've grown to the point that even the Chief...
In that case, I will stop apologizing for now.
You really could use some pointers on In any case, why did you come to Poisson?
Well, ever since that day, there was once a time when I didn't want to believe that there could be anything more... Oh, rather than that, it's probably more truthful to say I didn't believe humans were which is also why I didn't stop your father from beginning that fateful... I believed that a truly innocent man would never throw away his life like that. But Mr. Callus proved me utterly and decisively wrong. If not for his sacrifice, the serial disappearances case would have remained unsolved to this day. Mr. Callus made the choice he did for his daughter, for his associates, and for many people completely unrelated to him. And in the end, from a justice that's higher than life itself. So, you asked me why I came here. I just wanted to say my apologies to Mr. Callus in person. This regret has filled me with a sadness that has haunted me for days. That high and mighty chair in the Opera Epiclese indeed insulates one from many important things. Spina di Rosula, thank you so much for your hard work and perseverance.
So, you're actually one of those types that's cold on the outside, but pretty thoughtful on the inside.
Sorry about that. Self-expression is not one of my strong suits.
Didn't I just say you don't...
So Navia and Nervalette seem to have made their... Let's not disturb them for now. We can wait till after they're... Paimon's never paid respects at someone's grave before. Did Paimon do Oh, Paimon didn't know that was a thing. But, oh no. Paimon hopes Miss Navia won't be killed. Anyway, Nervalette is still standing around there. It's not often that we can catch him alone like this, so why don't we go talk to him for a bit?
Oh, it's you two. Did Miss Navia invite you to...
Mm-hmm. We ran into Navia on the streets.
I see.
Well, it's pretty hard to run into.
Please feel free. Though outsiders, you helped us solve one of the greatest mysteries in Fontaine, and it would be my pleasure to return. Your sibling, another blonde-haired traveler. If he ever stepped foot in Fontaine, I'm sure he followed our laws to the letter, and had no reason. Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about?
So, at court, the bad guys referred to that special water as water from the...
Truthfully, that name is already quite accurate. I can only surmise that Vacher and his ilk only... There used to be a special sea on the surface of this planet. Most of Tevat's life forms were first born in that special sea.
Huh. So it really was where everything began.
But today, what Vacher discovered must have been some kind of special case.
Huh. So that's how it is. Oh, you really know everything.
Indeed. Why would the primordial sea, which was known to engender and... To be frank, that also doesn't match my understanding of this world. Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about? That the sea levels will rise and everyone will be dissolved in water, leaving Farina crying alone on her throne, but the sins of the people will be finally Does that appropriately summarize the version you've heard?
That's right! It was Linny that told us back then.
Yes, up to the present, I think we reached a point where we have no choice but to confront it. Rumors have it that this prophecy is rooted in the last words the former Hydro Archon left to the world.
A prophecy? Of the former Hydro Archon?
Two parts of the prophecy have already proven correct. The rising sea levels, and the ability of the people of Fontaine to be dissolved. Speaking of the prophecy, Farina has also always taken it quite seriously. Indeed, she has been collecting information. If the rumors were true, then perhaps this prophecy is...
But with Farina being the way she is, can we really trust her to solve it?
Is there anything else you'd like to ask me? My apologies. However, I still believe the judgment of the Oratrice was not rendered arbitrarily.
Huh? But you also said you thought he was innocent.
For many years, I have been quite aware that the Oratrice does not simply mechanically repeat the verdict. As a divinely created mechanism, the people's unified faith in the concept of justice is integrated in. Not only can it produce the incredible power of indemnitium, but it likely also possesses other traits. Which is all to say, I have been prepared for a situation like this.
Huh. So when Linny told us that he heard it...
I was not aware such a thing had occurred. Perhaps that could serve to prove... In any case, I am inclined to believe that the Oratrice does have a method... Based on Farina's reaction, I doubt even she had any idea what was going on. She managed to bluff her way... While we do intend to get to the bottom of this, for now, we regret to say, if we did incorrectly convict him of crimes he did not commit, we will most certainly compensate him.
If you ask Paimon, the only compensation...
Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about? Very well. It was my honor to provide you with what answers I could. It will soon be time for me to leave this blissful tranquility behind.
You really are super busy, Monsieur Nervalette. Paimon thought you only came here to pay your respects today.
Crime and villainy do not have the day off, and so justice must work around the clock as well.
All right. You've got a point. Huh? Paimon just noticed that the rain has stopped. You know, we've been walking around for a while now. Why don't we go place ready for us there, didn't she? Come on, let's go!
Ad Astra. Thank you for
Yep, you're right.
There'll be a trophy for but that. none of them believed me.